To access Academic Search Premier, you click on this green box on our home page, Online Library Databases. I believe then you come to this second page where you choose Articles and Databases. Academic Search Premier is the name of the database that we will be using. So this is going to bring me right in. For you, you may need to do a sign-in. And basically it's a logon page that you'll come to. And it will ask you for your S number, and then it will ask you to put in a password. If you've never logged on to a FRCC computer, you'll use the birthday password the way they've outlined it. If you have logged into an FRCC computer, you will have already set a different password and you'll need to use that. There is a telephone number on that login page if you have forgotten your password. Call the phone number, tell them what your situation is and what you're trying to do, and they will instruct you to either come to the campus to reset your password at an IT or computer center, or you will need to work with them to have sort of a password protected way of emailing you a new password if you're at a distance from campus. Okay, so when you get to here, your Academic Search Premier, and you're going to want to start doing some research. So I'm going to use William James as a psychologist to be researching. So at this point, I'm also going to put in another keyword, consciousness. I've done this one before. So consciousness is one of the areas that William James was very interested in studying. And on my research paper, in this example, that's what I want to focus on. So when I scroll down a bit, by the way, I will have chosen advanced search. So you may need to choose advanced search, either at this point or it may have offered it to you in a screen earlier. So let's see, another thing I'm going to do to limit my results is to click full text because I want to be able to read the full text of an article. And scholarly or peer-reviewed journal articles. That's one of the benefits, the great benefits of this database. It is not just like being out on the big World Wide Web. It is instead a bunch or collection of journal articles that have been reviewed by people in the field for quality. All right, so let me search and see how many different articles I come up with. 88. That's pretty good. You may come up with several thousand articles. 88 is not too bad. But let's talk about refining my results even a bit more. So if I scroll down on this left-hand side, one of the things that I encourage my students to change is the, sorry, just adjusted the sound. I hope that is still okay. Limit this to full text and scholarly. We did that earlier. And then I want to make this, let's say, about 1991. So I don't want journal articles that are prior to 91, so I just adjusted the publication date and updated it. Another thing I like to look at, let's look at, interesting. I like both of these, the subject, the thesaurus term, and subject here. Let's look at thesaurus terms and click on show more. And we're going to get a list. I definitely want consciousness because that was the key to what I was researching. And then I want psychology. So let's update it using those couple of things and see what happens. Oh, now I'm down to 26 articles. Okay, so you can play with that to refine your search. Let's look at this first article. It's written in Spanish. That is not a language I consider myself fluent in, and so I probably would not choose that one. But here's one, consciousness as a process, from the loneliness of William James to the buzzing and booming voices of contemporary science. Well, that sounds kind of interesting to me. So I'm going to highlight over this little page with a magnifying glass. And that brings me into a little more detail about the article. And in particular, it gives me this abstract that I can read. So if I read the abstract, which is sort of a summary of the article, and I like it, then what I might do is choose to look at what's called the full text of the article. So here's the full text coming up. So then I would read through all of these different pages and see Now, sometimes the articles are pretty long. This one's only 6 pages, so I could read through that pretty easily. Sometimes it might be much longer than that, and I'd want to pick key pieces, the abstract, maybe an introductory piece, and perhaps the conclusions at the end. If I decide that this is something that I want to use potentially, then further over to the right, there's an icon that looks like a little envelope. That's an email option. So if I pull up the email option, I can actually email this particular article to myself. So I would put in my email address and send this to myself. So what I might do, this is a way of choosing, let's say, 3 or 4 or 5 articles that I think are potentially good fits for me. Bottom line, I want you to have at least one really great article that you think is a good fit for you. So if you get 2 or 3, 4 or 5, you send them to yourself, then you sort through them later. You don't have to come through this whole process again. So this emailing it to you is a very important part. And what I tend to recommend to people is to print out the one article that they especially like that they're going to be using. So that's use of Academic Search Premier in a nutshell. Email me any of your questions. Also email me Academic Search Premier Screencast, and I will award 5 bonus points for having watched this entire screencast. Okay, thanks. Good luck.